I did a lot of drawing as a kid. I did a lot of writing as a kid. I've written a few books. I always used to love to write poetry and stuff like that. But when I got hurt and my career as a laborer, basically out there plumbing, heating, doing stuff like that, I would say followed my father's footsteps and said, I think I'm going to try painting. And as soon as I did, I was bit by the bug. My dad has got his master's degree in fine arts, and basically going to museums all the time, knowing enough about art history. You've seen a lot of their journeys, the masters out there. I mean, what would I know about that without having a father that was that guy? We'd go in the studio and we'd have a drink and we'd sit there and put the music up and we'd paint. He'd paint. I have a good sized studio, so I mean my easel's like 20 feet long. So basically he'd have his over here, I'd have mine over here. Then of course when there was a really good 80s tune on or something like that, he'd go like this, again, play it again. And hey, sometimes you end up listening to the same song 15 times, It's always been totally about feeling. It's the feeling when my eyes look at something and it's looking at shadows, whether it's a tree, grass, spindles on a deck, whatever it is. The emotional, to some degree, feeling that I get from my eyes and what that does to connect to my heart and my spirituality. And then what that does to go to my hands to change something, or to start and then end up, changing things as you go. As I progressed, I realized a lot more, and I started to paint about it a lot more, about letting go of the wheel, letting go of thinking that I'm in control of anything. Composition is everything. It has to work immediately, and how long should it really take? I was told this by an artist. He was pretty sought after in the 90s and early 2000s. But he says, how long should it take, Brett? When you walk around the corner and the painting's there, how long should it take? I said, I think it should be right away, immediately. He goes, absolutely. You're going to sit there for 5 minutes to see if you like it? Or you're going to, matching it to your furniture and stuff like that? It's something that happens that hits your heart immediately. It's the paint, it's the application, it's what the artist puts into it of himself. It's not just throwing around a bunch of paint all over the canvas. Did they cut their arm open? Did they take a knife and slice their arm open and bleed all over that canvas so that forever you feel it? The only true way to really get out of that is just to keep doing it. As hard as it is, and it's very hurtful, painful. I mean, when they say artists really do suffer and they really do struggle and suffer and everything, there's a lot of reasons why they struggle and suffer, and it's the laundry list. It's a long laundry list. Some of my blocks were surgeries, major surgeries. I was working a full-time job to pay my bills here because of what I had gone through with losing my business and my tools, and because of my health. You're talking when you start adding that up, you're talking years. That while all I wanted to do was be in my studio, I wasn't. You were offered a residency. You should have went and done that and everything. And I guess at that time in my life, I did what I thought I had to do. And it's put me where I am right now, which is in a different place than I've ever been in my life. And I wouldn't have been in this place, which I think spiritually, I'm in the best place I've ever been. like my first solo show in Providence. Just me. That's when, even though I had, you know, a show with another artist, AS220, or I had this over here or that, or that show, for whatever reason, and I had a really big turnout. You're sitting there and you're trying to focus on answering 10 different questions thrown at you at once. Like I felt like they just came in like a swarm of bees and they just tore me apart, because at that point I really realized how precious and how intimate my paintings were to me. I'm an acrylic painter. I have painted with oil, but it's just too slow for me. And the way I work is I'm a guy that if it doesn't work right away, it's gone. It's gone. It's wiped out. I mean, and that's the layers. That's the way it goes. I mean, I am not going to sit there and be like with the you know. And again, I'm not a technique painter. It's not going to be that sitting there with a special brush that's $100 and all this stuff. I mean, I'm a slob. I go in there and I just make a mess. I make a complete mess and I move stuff around. I use the cheapest brushes. I go buy the cheapest brushes I can buy. I use my hands. I use my elbows. I mean, I used to. I don't anymore. I would use towels, rags. I put paint on rags. I throw it at the painting. I mean, you see people with mops. I mean, hey, and that's what you got to do. You got to find yourself, and you got to find materials, and you got to find tools that work with you. You're going to like what you like. Again, it should only take a minute. You should fall in love with something. You know, don't be deceived by people out there that are trying to deceive you. So I just say always, you know, use a little bit of caution. You know, and someone like William, who's been in the art scene his whole life, who is a beautiful person, who takes in, you know, like more like, you know, maybe mid career or whatever, and he's trying to really help those people out. I mean, that's a guy that you want to deal with. And obviously, New York is a hub, but you know, I mean, with what's going on in the world, and it's always changing. And it's not to say New York's not an important place for art, but Miami's a pretty important place for art, and Art Basel is a pretty important show for the world to see. So I said, well, look, they accept. You know, they accept submissions. I submitted to him, and he accepted the submission, and that was it. And basically, he's kind of like a hub, an art hub himself, just because he's an artist himself and he's been in this game so long. That's how I ended up, you know, Vito came to Art Basel, saw the work, reached out to me, said, I want a long-term relationship with you and your art. You want to be an artist, and that's really who you are, and that's what you do. Because a lot of artists go to art school, they don't end up being artists. You're not going to make any money. You know, I mean, it's a long journey. I mean, this journey is a journey where it's all about the art. It's all about the art. It's not about there's an agenda behind it. You know, the only thing that you're looking for is to create a beautiful composition. That's at least that's what I'm doing. So that's my advice. Like, get into it because you love it. Get into it because it's your whole heart and soul. It's the blood in the blood is paint. Okay, it's paint. To some degree, you grow a thicker skin. I don't expect everybody to love my work. I don't expect everybody to be drawn to my work. I mean, if I'm, you know, a small percentage of the population that paints, you know, I mean, the artists are a very small, it's a small population of people. They're very sensitive people. They're artists are different people. They look at the world different. When they step out their door, everything is different. It's just the way it is. I want this just want the portfolio to keep rolling and rolling in time and grow bigger and bigger and bigger like a snowball, and get into maybe some another magazine or some other type of thing that just keeps growing. Because the only way, I know one thing, the only way that my artwork is ever going to be able to do what the artwork in places has done for me is to get it out there. People paint for different reasons. If you're completely painting just to paint because it's a hobby or because it makes you feel good or it's saving your life within your area that you choose, if your area is your property or your apartment or whatever it is, then that's okay. But I've chosen right from the beginning that I wanted to have my artwork stimulate people's minds and hopefully be able, through the body language of everything that I apply, that it inspires them. Wake up every day and give your love to the planet. I mean, people will feel it. They will. The people, you have to understand how powerful love is and how powerful that positive thing is. And I get down, and I'll tell you what, I'm not doing anybody any good when I'm doing that. It's the only time I'm doing any good for this planet, for the people on this planet, for the animals on this planet, for the trees on this planet, is when I wake up and I'm able to just sit there and say, you know what? Wow. I'm being gifted another day in this skin suit in this beautiful world.